The harness is out. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage, and the engine harness is out. And I'll tell you, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It was bad. Don't get me wrong. Okay, so snaked from over there all the way behind the motor down underneath the exhaust manifold over here, and then it comes around the front, plugs into the ABS module, which is underneath there, and then the wheel, actually suspension height sensors also tie in on this harness. This area underneath the manifold, very bad, contortionist level 10 like requirements on there. So, but the harness is out. This is the old harness. You can see the points where I cut the ignition and injection harness connectors off, things like that. Had, I believe, just one fuse block connector. There's our ECM connectors. There's the ABS one that I was talking about. And these down here are some bulkhead connectors for sub harnesses that go to like the BCM and stuff like that. So yeah, I ended up cutting it, well, right there. So the ECM section there. And the reason I cut it, it was because this is fished underneath the air conditioning lines. There's some brackets that we could have taken off in order to probably fish this connector out. Like most of it would have came out until we got to this connector there. And then that would have been a very tight fit. That thing right there is kind of the bane of what makes this a pain. And then all these other ground lugs and stuff like that are just not in ideal places to get in there. So you got to use a lot of extensions and stuff like that. Anybody know what this is? If you know what this is, post it down in the comments. This was on the back of the block. It's not a knock sensor. I'm not sure what it is. It's almost like a, you know, I'm not even going to make speculations on it. I'll have to try and figure it out. Doesn't look like it will disconnect. So had to pull that bolt out also. Got some packages. Let's dive into them, see what all we got, mail call style. Okay, first things first, the big long one. Already know what this one is, obviously. This is our subframe connector kit. This ties the Nova front subframe back. And this one is a little different. A lot of them go back to the spring perches. This one actually goes back to the factory frame rail, which is part of the unibody. And so you put this section up on there and weld this into the factory frame rail. And then you bolt this section up to the front. Comes with a new spacer to replace the spacer, the body mount for the rearmost mount on the factory subframe. Trying to remember what brand these are. Global West. Global West is who makes this. Very reasonably priced. It's only like 200 bucks for this kit, and it's nice. They actually painted it up. Can't tell if it's paint. Might be powder coated. We'll see how long it lasts before it gets nicked, scratched, all that fun stuff. But as I said, since we are installing new spring perches, I didn't want to get a kit that bolts into the spring perch bolt locations. So this seemed like the ideal setup to actually tie it into the factory frame. And speaking of spring perches, this is the part that I'm excited about. This is what allows you to put power through these things. Oh, that's an interesting sort of packing material. They're cardboard triangles. I hadn't seen those before. So this is the Detroit Speed upgraded rear spring perch. And so the factory one has 3 bolts that holds it in place. This one uses the factory bolts, which are the 2 that go into the frame rail right here. And then there's a 3rd one on the factory that's over in the body section over here that's not really structurally sound. So literally these 2 bolts are carrying most of the load for your front spring perches, which are the ones that receive all the power whenever you're under driving. The nice thing about these is they've got 2 adjustable eye holes for your leaf springs. So you got stock and then 1-inch drop. we'll be probably running the 1-inch drop because the Caltrac mono springs that I got are a 1-inch lift. And so I wanted to be able to go higher, not necessarily lower, so we can make sure and get some tire underneath there. Then the big part on this one is the backing plate or the doubler or whatever you want to call it. This piece goes inside underneath your carpet, and these are the mounts that shore up the spring perch. So not only do you have the 2 factory locations, but then you have, you know, a ton more bolts that this thing is tying down into, and then you go in and weld this. I'm trying to figure out, I believe it goes this way right here. It goes this way, so you've got some additional bracing welded into this plate here, then you've got 4 bolts here. So you end up adding 8 bolts, 8 bolts to this setup instead of just having 2 and then the 1. So now you're up to 10 bolts holding this in. Then this plate goes under the carpet. We weld it in, and we have a couple bolts that go through, and then the rest of them we just, you know, fillet weld the rest of these in, and gives us a lot more power area to displace the power across the body, you know. So should handle a ton more horsepower. This setup should handle all the horsepower that the big block throws at it and then some. So I'm excited to get that set up. So we'll do some videos on, we'll do one on installing the subframe braces, and then we'll do another one on installing these new buckets and then throwing those leaf springs on. Then last but not least, we've got a package here from Super Clean. I don't know if you guys have heard of Super Clean or not. They are a you know, automotive-based cleaning solution. I'm sure they do more than automotive, but they were cool enough to send me a care package of some of their items to check out, test out, try out. So we've got wheel cleaner, nice big bottle of their wheel cleaner. We've got their degreaser, which I'll be testing this out on the XLR whenever we get everything back together to clean that up. Super Clean, just another degreaser. And then we've got Super Clean foaming. This is just a spray bottle for our wheel cleaner. And then last but not least, something that I'm keen to check out is the floor absorber. I'm always a big fan of floor absorber, and I normally buy the commercial stuff that is in the 5-gallon Pels. This is a more of a biodegradable style. It's kind of like the wood chip setup. And the nice stuff about this is this stuff will absorb so much. Normally what I'll do with this kind of absorber is lay it down, clean up a spill or something like that, and then I'll brush it over into a corner of the garage until I get another spill. And you can use this stuff over and over again. So literally it says absorbs 4 times more than clay for half the weight. Good stuff, good stuff. And big shout out for them for hooking us up, sending us a nice t-shirt and a hat also. You know me, I'm always down for a good mesh back trucker cap. Yeah. So you'll be seeing me use this stuff throughout the next couple weeks, giving it a shot. And I know you can pick this stuff up at AutoZone. Check out their website though, just superclean.com. See what all products they have available. So I want to thank them again for throwing some free stuff our way. That's really cool of them. Okay, so what's next? Well, we got to get the transmission harness out of the car. This is the replacement transmission harness here. This is going to be the front end. This goes to the TCM. This is one of those disconnects, body disconnects. This part down here goes through the trans tunnel where the torque tube is, and then all of these connectors here connect on the back side of the transmission. Now this section over here, I'm not sure what this is. So this is new to me. It's got a pass through, which is interesting because this does not disconnect. So it has to pass through, and oddly enough, you would think that this thing actually clips out of here and you can push this thing through like so. Brilliant, right? No, you can't get this connector through there. So I don't know why that is what it is, but I've got the XLR way up in the air right now. Don't worry, I've got pucks underneath there. Got the aluminum pucks, in fact, the permanent install ones. I think what we'll end up doing is taking the TCM and ECM out of the fender well, and where's the light at? Where has my little light gone? I think we'll mount them down there where the spare battery tray, or where the battery tray is, where I had the Terminator X mounted up. I don't see any reason to put it all the way down in the fender well again. Let me know what you think. So, what do you guys think? You think I need new wheels for this? Let me know. Been thinking about, I don't know. You know what I'd really like? And maybe it's because I grew up in the import world for a long time. I'd love a set of, what is it, the Volk T37s. I think they would look so good on there, but I don't think they make this weird bolt pattern. They make a 5x120. This is a 5x120.6, which is what, 4.5, I believe. So let me know what you think. Maybe we should upgrade the wheels, make this thing look a little cleaner. But yep. So that's just kind of where we're at right now. Just want to keep you guys updated with what's going on. I'm hoping in the next couple days to have the XLR back on the road, running stock. I've got, I think, all the aftermarket wiring pretty much out of it, except for some of the stuff that goes into the trunk. That'll be easy. And then just throwing in the harnesses. It might be a little bit of a pain to get the engine harness in. Looking at the trans harness, I thought it was going to be the problem. It's just work. You've got to drop the exhaust, drop the tunnel cover, the trans tunnel cover, torque tube cover, whatever you want to call it. It's just a lot of work. But hey, while I've got this in the background, make sure you guys go out and check out ICT Billet. Those guys keep on posting stuff on Instagram that makes me want to go out and get a car to LS swap. Too bad they don't make a kit for this thing, you know. What do you think? LS3? LS7 maybe? Should we do an LS7 and an XLR? I bet there's none of those floating around. Maybe that's the next step as we start saving money for an LS7 swap on the XLR. So I'm going to get back to it. Thanks as always for stopping by the garage. You know the drill, ABT. Always be tuning.